Joe, early on, you had Tillman starting. Looked like he passed up a couple of threes, and I think you addressed that with him. And then I think Jordan passed up on a three. What were you saying to them, and what does it do to the offense? 'Cause look at the offense was a little clunky in the beginning.
Yeah. I mean, they just it's hard at times, again, with guys that are in and out of the lineups and sub patterns are different, getting your rhythm. But at the end of the day, they just have to feel empowered that when they're open, they have to shoot it. They work at it every day. I watch them do it. I trust them, and there's obviously you want to pass and move the ball, but when you pass up a first good look, as good defenses are in the NBA, it's harder to generate those late in the clock. And so they just have to keep being in understanding and empowered that I want them to shoot when they're open.
And on the same lines of trusting three-point shooting, Sam was 1 for 9 at one point, but Tatum still drove, kicked, and he hits that three.
Yeah.
What does it do for, I guess, a guy's confidence in that moment to know that Jason Tatum, of all people, is still going to give you the ball in that moment?
It's credit to him having an understanding of need your teammates, and all of his teammates were empowering him to keep shooting. And 1 for 9 just means he's going to have a 6 for 10 game coming up here soon. So it's just part of the game. He generated great looks. He got great looks. He has to shoot them. The guys have to pass to him, and we move on about our day.
Joe, when you're up 3 under a minute to go, you force a 24-second violation. Did it almost feel like this game was going to come down to a defensive stop the way this was?
Yeah. It's crazy. I'll take a look at the points per shot and stuff, but 2 25-point quarters in an 18-16 game is just kind of one of those ugly, grinded-out games. We gave up some stuff that we have to get better at, but, it was just you had to earn every basket. You had to earn it on both ends of the floor, and I thought, we did that, especially towards the end of the game.
To that end, Joe, Jason had 2 steals tonight. He switches out and gets the stop on Cam Thomas on the shot clock violation. What did you see from him defensively tonight?
Yeah, I mean, I think he has the ability to impact the game on both ends of the floor, well-rounded basketball. So I don't really care if he gets 30 a night, if he doesn't do all the other stuff that are most important to winning. And when he does that, we're a different team, and that goes for him, that goes for Jalen, that goes for all our guys. But so he made a decision, in the middle of the game that he was going to impact both ends. And when he does that, we're a different team. So he did a great job of that.
Peyton, I don't know if he's taking any maybe different shots he's taken in the past, but his consistency and his presence in the interior seems to be at a different level now. What are you seeing as far as his almost like aggressiveness and like conviction and going for those little windows and shooting through?
Yeah, I mean, he's got to do it. I mean, he's it's funny to say this, but he's actually a really good 3-level scorer. I mean, he could shoot threes, he can shoot pull-up twos, and he could create just enough space to get layups off, as you saw tonight. So he's a 3-level scorer. But it's all the stuff. His ball pressure changes the game for us. So he's just a really good, well-rounded basketball player, competitive, nasty.
Joe, Cam Thomas was making some tough shots tonight. The whole Nets team was making some tough shots, especially in that first quarter. And then combined with what John said about, Sam Hauser maybe not making some of the shots he normally does, some of the other guys not making some of the shots he normally does. How tough is it mentally to stick to the game plan? And is there ever a point in the game where you consider changing it up because they're making something that's not a part of the math necessarily?
No, it's not that tough. You got to live by principle, not by feeling.
Garen, then Sam.
Joe, when they're playing, it seemed like they were getting the breaks. They were getting the 50-50 balls. You guys were missing open threes. They were coming back and scoring. Like, how do you kind of change the mental aspect? You guys played harder than they did the fourth quarter and overtime, and they played harder than you did the first 3. How do you, in game, change and become the harder playing team?
I mean, I don't think the guys make a decision to say they're gonna outplay us. I think it's just having an understanding. Sometimes you just have to give the perspective to the guys. Sometimes we're playing well and things just aren't going the way we need them to go. I mean, the other team has a great coach and great players as well, and but it can wear on you. I thought in the Golden State game, our defense kept us in it in the first half when things weren't going well for us on the offensive end. Tonight, it was a little bit of both, but I just thought we just made enough plays to kind of chip away at it. And I think that's a testament to the team, because I think you have to find ways to win ugly. And that's just kind of how it is over the course of a long year. I also told the guys, it's funny, and it's not an excuse at all, but it's perspective. One of the reasons why we were really good last year is because these are the type of games that you win. When you're down 3 rotation players, you have to find ways to win. And, no one cares that we don't we have guys out. It just doesn't matter. And everyone in the locker room has to know that. We have an expectation to win regardless of who's on the floor. So you got to, shit's not going your way, you just got to figure it out. And so I think I like that mentality of them. We had about 18 of those last year, and this was one tonight where, we just have to figure it out from everybody, and I think that's important. It's just having a perspective of knowing when it's not going your way and kind of changing that as fast as you can.
Joe, early in the fourth quarter, key stretch of the game, Jrue's out there to kind of lead the way with the guys while Tatum and Derek get a little bit of a rest, assists or scores the first couple of buckets of the quarter, and he kind of carries that momentum over to have a very strong close to the game. What does that say about him as a leader and the poise that he's able to play with, especially with his role changing all the time?
Yeah, he's just a Swiss Army knife. I mean, he doesn't really care what his sub pattern is. He just doesn't care. He just plays hard. Doesn't allow things to impact his effort. And so, but you're right. I saw. I thought the middle of the first quarter and the second, he made some physical plays that kind of got us back into it and allowed us to kind of be in that space. And so, he just has an ability to impact the game in different ways, and he's always looking for ways to do that.
Thank you, Joe.
Thanks.
Al and Jason are in here, Jrue in the locker room. Everybody's the game plan.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jeff.
Hey Al, you started a little slow from three. Everybody kind of did. Then you hit two big ones down the stretch. Sam hit one. How hard is it to kind of stay with it and keep shooting with that confidence when you just have had a whole game where they haven't been falling?
I mean, I don't think it's very hard just because, we know the type of shooters that we have. We work at this every day, and those are shots that we have to take. We had a lot of good looks, and you just have to take them, and trust in your process. And I always just think back on our work, on our preparation, when we have any kind of ruts like this.
And defensively, it seemed like you guys maybe started a little slow. Maybe a couple games in a row, you guys started a little bit slow. What goes into that, and what turned it around for you guys?
Not ideal. I just think that we have to make sure that we come out, continue to come out more focused. I feel like we've eased into the past couple games, and you can't do that. You simply can't. And I think that the game changed for us when Peyton and Niemi and Sam and those guys came in. They just brought us good energy. That the game started to shift our way, and that's how we were able to I feel like get back in the game.
Al, it seemed like, you guys missed a lot of open looks. Things that usually happen go for you didn't, and they were getting the breaks, the 50-50 balls, the offensive rebounds. How do you kind of flip mentally and become the harder playing team? Because I simply fourth quarter and overtime, you guys set in and played harder. How do you make that in-game adjustment when things aren't working out offensively?
I think the biggest thing, to your point, is to stay locked in on the things that you can control. And I feel like defensively, we were doing a good job for the most part, and we didn't get discouraged by our offense. And that's difficult sometimes. It's difficult for teams. I feel like we can get caught up in that, and I just think that for our group, we continue to push, continue to fight. And our defense is what gave us, the chance tonight because, our offense wasn't working, shots weren't falling, and we had to rely on our defense.
You talked about it a little bit with John and Gary's question, but I asked Joe about the difficulty of sticking to your game plan when they're making tough shots and you guys are missing some of the open ones. And he said it's not tough because you guys live by a principle, not a feeling. And I'm curious, you've played for a few coaches. Have all of them followed that mentality? Do some of them switch up? How much is Joe stuck to that mentality of we know what we do best, we're going to stick to our game plan because we trust the math versus other coaches you've played for?
I'm not sure. I think every coach is different. But the one thing I can tell you is I learned to trust Joe pretty quickly, and he has a good feel for the game, and I just trust his judgment, and I feel the same way. We prepare, we do things that we need to do, and we're ready to go, and we're sticking to what we do. We just have to do things consistent, and I think that's the key for us.
Al, what does it do for your confidence when you guys are able to win a game like this, when it's really not going your way for most of the night and you stick with it?
It's big, just because, we're trying to find a way to grind it out. Things are not going our way. Like you said, things are not ideal. But I think for our confidence, it's very important, that this type of game to find a way to win. Brooklyn came in, played well tonight, played really hard. And despite all that, we were in a position where, things got shaky there at the end, and we just found a way. So, I feel like this is good for our group.
Niemi talked a lot last year about how much he was learning from you and how lucky he was to have veteran leadership on the team. What's impressed you the most about just how much he's contributed so early on the season, and what are the kinds of things that you're talking to him or working with him on?
Yeah, I just think it's his mindset. I feel like Niemi's really committed to making sure that he's staying ready to play. He's taking care of his body. He's doing all the little things that he has to do to put himself in a position to play and be available. And then when he gets on the floor, I feel like he has just one play a game that's just unbelievable. Like probably nobody on our team can do some of the things that he can. So that's always encouraging to see that there's like that other level, for him. And for me, it's just I just stay in his ear about him continuing to take his time offensively when he gets offensive rebounds and things like that. And then on the defensive end, that's probably where I'm trying to challenge him the most, to continue to stay solid. And he's been doing a good job with that. And as long as he does that, he's going to be able to play. Because, with our group, you have to be able to defend. You have to be able to defend at a high level. And we're asking him to do different things, and he's doing them. And it's not overwhelming, which is a good thing for him, and it's a really good thing for us in the long run, I think. Thank you.
Hey, Jason. Joe said that you guys live by a principle and not a feeling, talking about how Nets are making tough shots. You guys aren't necessarily making the open threes that you guys usually make, and sticking to that math. Is that something he's always sort of emphasized to you guys, and how often does he have to, bring it up again when stuff like that happens, when the Nets are making tough shots, when you guys aren't necessarily making the ones you're used to?
When he's bringing up, like, what exactly?
Basically, like, sticking to the math, not changing the game plan just because some of the shots you guys are used to making aren't falling and stuff like that.
I mean, yeah, that's like principles of life. Like, you got to be the same person when things are going great and when things aren't. It's not time to panic when things aren't going. He always talks about, like, it's not always going to go how we expect, right? The Nets aren't the same team as last year. They're playing differently. They got a different coach. They're playing with more energy and freedom and things like that. So he always says, expect it to go unexpected. We're missing some guys. We weren't hitting shots that we normally do. How are we going to respond? How are we going to figure out a way to win? And it's not from getting away from things that make us who we are. Sometimes you're going to make shots. Sometimes you're going to miss them. But we still got to play the way that we believe to be the right way to play.
Is there a way he specifically helps you guys practice to expect the unexpected, or is it more just like a general openingness that he wants you to play with?
I mean, we constantly talk about it. There's times, right, we could be down 16-2, and he might come to the bench smiling, like, this is good for us. This is what we should want. He's right. Like, sometimes that we need that. Not that we want to be down 16-2 all the time, but we got to figure out a way to win the game still.
Was he smiling when you guys were down 16-2?
No, not today. He wasn't.
Along the lines of your first answer, like when you're there and you see, for example, Sam, you're driving, you see Sam, is there ever a hint of like, oh, he's cold, I might as well just do this myself? Not that you don't want to pass it to him, but just like a feeling of, oh, he just doesn't have it tonight, I'm going to just do this. You don't have that feeling? Because you hit him and he hit that shot.
Yeah, I mean, no, never, ever. If Sam's open, if he's not open, we always want him to be a threat. Not necessarily like shoot it every time, but we have so much confidence in Sam that we were mad at him when he missed it, and he was like mad at himself. Al was yelling at him on the bench, like, yo, don't ever put your head down. Like, the next one, we always believe the next one is going in, because he's such a proven shooter. He works really hard at his craft. So no, I'm never like, oh shit, Sam just missed the last two shots, I'm not about to pass it to him. Like, no, I would never think that.
Jason, Peyton's really improved his finishing in the paint. He's driving like right under the rim and scoring on the guys. You also had to learn how to score off of 2 feet. What was the challenge of doing that, and what do you see out of Peyton, especially at a guy at his size doing that?
Just a willingness to, it's a little unorthodox. Like, he takes that last little dribble under the basket, or he takes an extra dribble where, normally guys would lay it up, but he takes one more dribble where it gives the defender, you can see like he takes a breath or he relaxes, and Peyton knows that, and he gets it up quick. He has a strong base, like, he's a short guy, I guess, but, Peyton is pretty strong in his base, in his core. He uses his body and ankles really well when he's attacking the basket.
Jason, Joe said one of the things that makes you guys so strong is you just find a way no matter what happens, no matter who's out. Do you kind of enjoy the mental puzzle of having to figure it out in different ways each and every night?
Yeah. You want everybody to be healthy. You want to play with the full roster as much as you can. Long season, that's just not how it's always going to be. And you find moments throughout the season where, it's challenging, and certain guys are out. And regardless, like, Joe says it's a privilege. Like, we have starters out or guys out, and we're still, like, always expected to win. And, we have that mentality, like next man up. The stay ready group, we call it a stay ready group for a reason. So moments like this you can look throughout the season as, it gives other guys more opportunity that, right, we might need them in the playoffs or whatever. So, yeah, we can use moments like this as, things that we need down the road and will make us a better and stronger team.
Last question to Abby.
Jason, the last two teams you guys have played have really upped the physicality, and particularly on yourself. Do you feel like that's kind of a game plan that's out there, is to try to take you out of your game? I mean, I know that's kind of generally, but in the league, do you feel like that's kind of word is to play physical with you guys and really get handsy?
Yeah, I would say so. I think when you play superstar, whatever you want to call them, the thing is to, I guess, just try to make them uncomfortable, right? Guys are special. Guys are going to make plays. You just want to make it tough on them. And we understand that how skilled we are, how talented we are. A way to combat that is, to up your physicality and push catches out and, grab and hold and whatever and just make things tougher. So just understanding that is what we're going to face night in and night out, and not be surprised and caught off guard when it happens.